All right, looks like we're live, guys. All looks good. All right, welcome back to the Sleuth Intuition channel. Just a few things that I wanted to talk with you guys about. Specifically, here, maybe I have a photo. Let's try this. Yep. There you go. So if you notice the title, UK woman traveled to Florida to be killed. Probably thinking, what the hell? The hell is this guy talking about? Well, I was getting ready to read a People magazine article titled Suicidal UK Woman Traveled to Florida to be Sexually Abused and Possibly Murdered. Now a man arrested. So we're going to look at that for sure. And then I wanted to get you guys' opinion on what's going on with immigration, ICE, and all of that. I see there's protests, and I know you guys all have your own personal opinions, and I have my own as well. So figure we can talk about that. It's a little polarizing. I didn't really want to. I don't want to scare any of you guys away, but I don't know. I think we should be able to talk about things like that, right? So that's what I have for you guys. Anything going on with you? Any news out there on the YouTube streets? So I'll probably read this article because I haven't read it completely. And then we'll just kind of hang around and chat about true crime, politics, whatever. Everything in between. And if you want to participate in the poll, it's a simple question, right? ICE. Do you think it's good or do you think it's bad? Let me know if I'm seeming like I'm a little bit glitchy. So I'm trying to watch the stream over here on the right. What's up? Good time, Charlie. All right, no glitchiness. No glitchiness. Appreciate that. Make sure you participate in the poll. ICE, good, bad. What do you think? So I'll get the opinion of the chat, and then I'll let you guys know what I think about it. But we'll give everybody an opportunity to kind of show up. I feel like I haven't been live in a minute. Working on a couple true crime stories in the background. Maybe I'll give all of you members a little sneak peek a little bit later today. Covering some local cases here. Clarissa says good and bad. That's not helpful, Clarissa. Good to see you, though. Pitbull, what's up? Oh, Clarissa, guess what I was sent? Hold on. You're going to get a kick out of this. See if I can find it. It was relating to our conversation the other day. Let's see. I think Cindy sent it to me. Yep. How do I make that full screen? Oh, there we go. Okay, here, let me share my screen. So this is how cool the Sleuth crew is. They got my back all the time. Like, honestly, this is their channel. I'm just doing my best to keep it together. That's what you were talking about. I just don't know where they're filming from. It says we pulled up into the Emily Pike driveway. The crows were flying high above her home. Yeah, but they're circling. Hmm. So I can't tell if they're actually in San Carlos or near where the body was taken. Because, I mean, it's very interesting. If it's just a few days after her funeral, must be just a few days after the discovery. What's up, Pitbull? But yeah, there's that video that you were talking about. Shout out to Cindy for sending it to me. Sensei Pitbull, welcome in. Happy hump day. Yeah, we're getting a lot of rain out here. It's kind of nice. Clarissa, it's interesting because I kind of knew what you were talking about, but not completely. But Cindy sent this to me, and then it just kind of all came back to me. So yeah, very interesting. We all know why birds do that, right? There's something down there on the ground that they want, and they don't want to be eaten themselves when they go try to grab it. So they're like mosquitoes, right? They just kind of circle, get lower and lower. What's up, Jari? Jerry, Jari, and Jerry. Oh, this is not the video? Okay. Maybe you can find it. That's the one I was thinking of. Growing Crazy, what's up? GP, good to see you. I believe it's early winter in Indiana. It's cold and icky out. Yeah, today was like a first really cold day. Of course, we went for a walk, so. All right. Well, I guess that's not the one, Cindy, but thank you anyway. Definitely the one I was thinking of. Oh, good and bad. Are you talking about ice? Good and bad. Okay. It's where they found the body. It's driving me nuts looking for it. Yeah, if you find it, well, let's ask everybody for help. And let me know how my video and audio is doing. Let me try something. Because I reset the modem. Here, let's try this. Are you guys getting any delay or any glitchiness on your end? Let's start there. And if you are, let me know. I'll switch over to my portable Wi-Fi. Should be able to handle the stream. Yep, ice can be good and bad. Gotcha. Sorry, I'm a little bit slow. So if you guys haven't participated in the poll, the question is ice. Is it good? Is it bad? What do you think? Stuff that's going on with the immigration. Okay, good. Must just be on my end then. Here, let's start here. Have you guys heard about this? I saw this on people.com. Suicidal UK woman traveled to Florida to be sexually abused and possibly murdered. Now, the man on the right has been arrested. How crazy does that sound? Dwayne Hall was arrested this week in connection with the October killing of Sonia Exelby, who in video appeared to express hesitation after she consented to being killed by him. This article was written by Samira Asma Sadiq and was published today at 6 in the morning Eastern Time. All right. Need to know. Sonia Exelby was reported missing in October, and her remains were found in Florida. Authorities from her hometown in England reportedly found evidence that she was suicidal and expressed interest in being tortured. What the? Here, I need to put up. Let me see if I still have my disclaimer up here. A little late, but authorities from her hometown in England. That's a long ways away. Wonder what was going on with her. Is the story even true? Exelby appears to have traveled for an apparent suicide mission and allegedly met Dwayne Hall, who is now facing charges in connection with Exelby's killing. So, quick warning, story contains graphic details pertaining to sexual abuse, torture, and suicide. Proceed with caution. So, Frank, inquisitive. Yeah, this is one of the wildest stories I've ever heard. Here, let's get into it. Good to see you, inquisitive. Authorities in Florida have arrested a man in connection with the killing of a British woman who allegedly traveled to America to be sexually assaulted and possibly murdered. Investigators received a report on October 13th regarding the woman after she missed a flight back to the UK. Family's worst nightmare right here. Florida Department of Law Enforcement said in a statement. She was not named in the statement, but an arrest affidavit obtained by People identifies her as Sonia Exelby from Portsmouth, England. Within days, Exelby's remains were found in Marion Oaks, Florida, per law enforcement statements. She died from an apparent homicide, investigators claim. Dwayne Hall, 53, that's the guy you see there on the right, was arrested on Monday, November 17th by officials from FDLE and the Marion County Sheriff's Office. All right, I can't wait to hear this. In writings allegedly left on her computer, Exelby indicated she was suicidal and traveling to the United States to be sexually abused, tortured, and possibly murdered. Per the arrest affidavit reviewed by People, she allegedly connected with various people in the U.S. in furtherance of her apparent mission. Okay, now how would you communicate with somebody to do something like that? Probably the dark web or some kind of back channel, right? Something that's maybe not typically used for communication, where they don't have a whole lot of security set up for coded messages and things like that. Or even Dropbox, places like that, where you can download links that are encrypted. Okay, British investigators also found evidence of a suicidal letter she wrote where she anticipated being mutilated and disabled for the rest of my life in the event that she managed to get to him, the affidavit states. Authorities identified Hall as a suspect after tracing him to an account that allegedly attempted to transfer money from Exelby's bank account several times since October 11th. During a voluntary interview with police on October 17, Hall allegedly gave several inconsistent accounts about his interactions with Exelby, initially claiming he did not know her before eventually admitting that he had sex with her several times and discussed her bondage, suicide, and her desire to have someone kill her, per the affidavit. I just find that very hard to believe. Be very elaborate setup. Maybe somebody went to her home and typed in all that shit on that end, but she was already, I want to see footage of her going through the airport, getting on an airplane, getting off. I mean, they must have all that. It's just hard to believe somebody would do something like that. Like I can't figure it out. She must have been really dealing with some things. Because I guarantee you, once she got to Florida and was hanging around with this sick guy right here, she definitely changed her mind, right? But at that point, it's too late. Like you might have some kind of weird fetish. So you're like, oh, I would love to be tortured. But the second somebody like starts to torture you, you're like, nope. Nope, I was wrong. That's not what I thought it would be. That shit hurts. That's what it's going to be like, right? Please kill me. Please do this. Please do that. And then once it starts happening, you're like, hell no, stop doing this. But something tells me somebody like that's not going to stop. Hall also allegedly said if he had to help her, he would bring Exelby to Alligator Alley where the wildlife would have taken care of her. He declined to answer when asked if he killed Exelby, but said she's happy now because she got what she wanted. He was charged with fraudulent use of a credit card and unlawful use of a two-way communication device. At the time of his arrest this week, Hall was behind bars on those charges, police said in their statement. Here's another image. I just don't get it. She just looks young, vibrant. Here, what the hell? There we go. She's very attractive, she seems really young, like youthful. I just find it hard to believe. I hope they're investigating every aspect of this, All you would really need is a connection on that side of the planet to kind of make it appear as if she was a willing participant. However, in the arrest affidavit for Hall's murder charges, authorities claim Exelby appeared to have her doubts last minute and reached out to a friend via Discord, alleging a man who she did not name was holding her against her will. See, it's too late. Once you seek out the monster, right? There's really no such thing as monsters, just bad men, right? Evil men. But that's what a monster is. It's not some werewolf. It is a man, right? It's a man who, it's a godless man. It's a tormented man. It's somebody who fantasizes about tormenting. Once you're in the presence of that individual, I don't think they're going to let you go. I don't think they're going to be like, oh, well, I got my hopes up. I get it. You changed your mind. No biggie. No, because they've been constantly looking for, this is probably not their first murder. They've been looking for ways to get from point A to point B. How do I get this victim, right? How do I get my hands on a victim and not go to jail forever or not get killed by somebody that the victim, that loves the victim? So once they get from point A to point B, they're not going to just let that slide. That's a lot of work for them. It's a lot of risk involved. So if they can get the target to just come directly to them, they're definitely not going to let her go. So that's very scary, to be under some kind of a mental health situation and you're being very secretive, like, oh, I'm going to go to Florida, and I just want to end things, maybe probably a little bit of an aspect of psychosis there. And then once you get there, you realize, oh man, like this is everything that a woman fears. Well, like, how did I get here? Only a horrible mental health crisis could cause her to get there. And once that subsides, and then you can kind of start seeing through the fodder, that's got to be very terrifying. Yeah, she's very pretty. She doesn't look like she's on drugs or anything. But that's the crazy thing about psychosis. It just hits you. It could hit the healthiest people at any time. Okay, he made it clear there was no way out unless I shoot him. I was questioning it last night. I can't kill anyone. She wrote in a part of the message, later adding she was made to record 3 disclaimer messages and write a letter to her family because he thought it was funny, per the affidavit obtained by People. See, this could be some kind of an elaborate setup, working with a group of people. Because I don't know how this is all going to play out in a court of law. Like during a trial, this guy's going to get a lot of leniency, right? Yeah, I committed a murder, but what are we dealing with? Dr. Kevorkian over here? Is this some kind of illegal euthanasia? Like, what is this? In a cell phone video reviewed by police, Hall is allegedly seen prompting Exelby to answer questions. Here, let's put his mug back up there. In a cell phone video reviewed by police, Hall is allegedly seen prompting Exelby to answer questions such as how she wants to die. Even though Exelby answers seemingly expressing her consent, she hesitates before several of her answers, per an alleged video. Dang, that must be a terrifying video. I'm sure police let her family sit and watch that. That must have been really hard. On social media, a loved one of Exelby stated in an October 16th post that she is a vulnerable person and really struggling with her mental health. See, there you go. Only somebody outside of themselves would do something like that. And once they find themselves in this horrible situation that, that they're in, sometimes there's no way out. Pandora doesn't go back into the box. We believe she has arranged to meet somebody in Tallahassee, Florida, and has got herself into an extremely vulnerable situation. Hall is currently charged with murder and kidnapping in addition to the previous fraud charges against him. According to the online court records, he has pleaded not guilty to all 4 charges. So this could be him just getting from point A to point B, and the way he's covering up is by adding all of this consent. Like, oh, I was doing her a favor. She wanted me to do it. I was showing mercy. But yeah, isn't that bizarre? Very, very bizarre. And if you guys were kind of wondering what happened to my McCain videos, I took them down because I started thinking somebody left me a post about I think it was like defamation or something along those lines. And I started thinking, I was like, yeah, just because you say something's hypothetical doesn't mean that it's not potentially defamation, right? So I just trusted my instincts and took them down. Because I mean, it's not like we have anything solid to really point, to bring that much attention. But I did want to bring it to your guys' attention so you can continue sleuthing and trying to figure that all out. And I definitely don't mind talking about it. But headlining and creating thumbnails, I don't know. I might have been putting myself in a bad position, and I don't want to risk the channel. You know, we have the longevity as it is now. Want to hold on to that. Misty, what's up? Yeah, that's wild. I mean, nobody in their right mind's going to do that. Even if you're suffering from, some kind of disease and you only have a few months to live or something terminal, you're not going to do it in that fashion, right? You're not going to tell somebody to come torture you because that's what you're trying to avoid. Going through chemo and going through all these procedures, that's torture. It can be torturous. So you might want to avoid that, right? Or just go through it. Some people, they get lucky. Yeah, Florida's kind of crazy like that. But really, any environment like the woods, you got animals out there. The desert, you have animals. If you leave anything out there to rot, the environment's going to take care of it. So you have to work quickly for forensic reasons. What was it? Which case was it? I think of the Night Stalker. So in the Night Stalker case, police pulled over a vehicle and the driver got out. Or no, they went to go check his ID. It was a fake ID, or to run the plate, something like that. And the driver had ran away. He drew a pentagram in the dirty window, took off running. They impounded the vehicle, and the homicide investigators kept trying to get their hands on the vehicle. But for whatever reason, they were getting like all this pushback. There was all this beer, all this red tape, all this bullshit they had to go through. But by the time they finally got the vehicle, it was sitting in the hot sun at some impound yard and lost all of its value for the most part. Other than, I believe, in the Night Stalker case, they ended up finding a business card for a dentist office. And then eventually that's how they got the name. I think Richard, and then the last name was fake. They got his dental records, so. But that just goes to show, if you don't act fast, you could lose what little evidence that you have, from what I've learned. All right, guys. So what do you think about what's going on with the immigration system in our country right now? How do you feel about that? Let me pull up some of the crazy shit I was looking at on X. You guys give me your opinion, vote on the poll, and then I'll tell you how I feel. Oh, yeah, here's one right here. So in this video, they seem to be surrounding ICE agents. Like, why? First of all, that's not a protest right there. Regardless. So here, let me play this. So you have a group of people. I think they just arrested somebody. And from what I'm seeing, they're just kind of rolling up on construction sites, Home Depots, and just your typical like hangout for people who are undocumented looking for work. And I don't know I don't know if they have a list. Like, how does this all work? Do they just wait for people to run and then they chase them and then they say, "Hey, are you a US citizen?" And they're like, "No." Like, what is the process here? because I'm not a big fan of this whole stop and frisk. Like I don't think I would ever live in a stop and frisk state. I think New York at one point is. I know there's a couple of stop and frisk states out there, but me personally, that doesn't sound like anywhere I would like to live. Let me see. That's the part I don't like about it. I don't ever want to be approached because of the color of my skin and like, hey, are you a U.S. citizen? Like they do when you're crossing, into New Mexico or into California near these border states. I don't like that. I don't like people stopping me from what I'm doing. I don't like the government, telling me, hey, stop. I need to check you. Like that's why we became the United States because we don't put up with that shit. So slowly we're putting up more and more with that kind of stuff. So that whole aspect of it, I'm not comfortable with. Let's see. In Florida, the law explicitly allows temporary detention under reasonable suspicion. Illinois, stop and frisk is also legal under reasonable suspicion. Connecticut, state courts limit frisks. An officer can pat down only for weapons, not do a general search. Yeah, you shouldn't even be touching me. Like, if you don't know that I've committed a crime, you should get the fuck out of my way. I don't care if you follow me and talk to me as we go. You want to do some kind of optical pat down, like Always Sunny in Philadelphia. That's fine, but stay out of my way and don't try to force me to stop and answer any questions or show you anything. Because I talk with an accent or something like that. That part I don't like. But them, establishing lists, going after known companies that hire illegals, that shit drives me crazy. To me, it's just all common sense, right? If you want the economy to be better, we need more Americans to be making money. In order to make money, they need to be working. And there's no reason for these business owners to hire Americans if they can hire illegals at a lower rate. I mean, it makes sense to me, right? Somebody needs to be there to enforce that, right? Don't hate the player, hate the game. So right now they're fixing the game, and I'm happy about that. But this whole Gestapo brown jacket tactic, I'm not sure about that. I don't know how that works. I don't even know if it's legal. Like, I don't get it. Here, let me see if I can find the video that kind of sparked that. This guy's literally kind of like walking up to a guy in a van and asking him for his ID and shit. I don't know if I'm comfortable with that. Damn, this shit's all over social media right now. Yeah, well, anyway, they just walked up to a guy and he ended up being an illegal. He's like, well, I have my driver's license. They're like, well, that's not what we're asking you. They asked him, well, where are you from? He says, Honduras. There's no harm in asking. But if you're coming up to somebody and you're stopping them and then you're asking them, you don't know who they are. If you don't know that person's name and you don't know if they've committed a crime, illegal immigration is a crime. So if you don't know that if it's a fact that they've committed that crime, you shouldn't even be talking to them, right? That's like just a normal person walking up the street. You can't say, "Oh, you got a gun on your hip. I need to stop you to see if you're a felon." Like, no, that's not how it works. You don't violate my rights to see if I'm a felon that you can legally violate their rights, right? They lost rights. So yeah, it would be different. But you don't know that I'm a felon. So why would you just stop me, right? So that part I don't understand. But them going and making all these arrests and all that, I think is going to be great for the economy. It's going to be great for the American working man. Absolutely, it's going to be amazing. Especially because I'm trying to buy land, trying to refinance a vehicle. Trying to see what the hell's going on with the housing market. I need things to get better, and in order for things to get better, immigration has to be taken care of, but not at any cost. To the Constitution. So definitely a very thin line there. What's up, Phil Bond? Welcome in. Did you guys participate in the poll? ICE, is it good or is it bad? I say that it's good. People say, well, it's kind of like Nazi Germany when the brown coats kind of run up on people and say, I need to check your papers. It's a little bit different because imagine you don't need that, and then people are running up and asking you for your papers. But right now, I believe that we do need something like that. We're kind of in a crisis. Has nothing to do with race. They're not deporting Hispanics, right? They're deporting illegal immigrants. And most of the ICE agents are Hispanic. And I've seen them deporting people to South America, I think even to Europe, all over Africa, China. People are getting deported to China. If you're Japanese, you ain't got no worries. You don't even need anything more than your travel ID. You don't even need a passport to fly into Japan. Did you guys know that? Isn't that cool? We need to keep it that way because that's definitely some place that I'm going to be visiting. I don't want to do any traveling except to Japan. Something about the Japanese people. This disaster could have been prevented if the border wasn't wide open by the past administration. People have to be vetted. It is a national security issue. It makes America vulnerable. Yeah, it makes you wonder why that administration was doing that. They must have been motivated by something. Like nobody in their right mind, right? Nobody in their right mind is going to fly from the UK to Florida to be tortured, sexually mutilated, and then killed. Right? Nobody's going to do that in their right mind. Nobody in their right mind is just going to open up our borders. Remember all of the true crime cases that we were covering? All of them seem to be by people from like Venezuela, Honduras, who were wanted for murder. So the part that bothers me, and to me this is like real white privilege, is when you have like a liberal person, and no, this is no offense to you guys, but it's like they believe all brown people are supposed to be crossing the border and they come to America for a better place, right? Like there's no way that they can make a good life where they're from, or that people that are from those same places aren't already living a 10 times better life than we are here, most of us Americans, right? Like Mexico, it's one of the richest countries in the world. These liberal people who yell about white privilege, in their mind, that's what Mexicans, they want to cross. They need to cross the Rio Grande into America to have a better life. That's not what's happening. Criminals and people who are fleeing their own country are coming here to find a safe haven. Right? Most Mexicans don't give a shit about America. They just cross the border and do their Christmas shopping, right? And then they drive back. They have no issues whatsoever coming in and out of other countries. Only criminals and desperate people are going to be sneaking through the damn woods or the deserts. Who is that? It's been like a UPS or something. Clarissa Trevino. ICE can be such idiots. They try to be like their poop don't stink. I think that goes for all law enforcement. They think they're above the law. That's the problem. They got that immunity. Qualified immunity, I think is what they call it. Christine Robbins, CJK. Let's see what you guys are talking about. Oh, yeah, it is a tough job. Doesn't mean they can go around violating people's rights. I like what they're doing, but it's not what you do, it's how you do it. You can't go around like treating people like shit. Like you need to know first, right? That's what America's all about. That's why we had our Revolutionary War. That's why we did that. We had some foreign um, power trying to tell us what to do over here, and they weren't living the same life as us. So same thing goes with another culture. You can't allow an entire culture to take over. You just can't. It just can't happen. So I like what ICE is doing, and I'm really upset when I see people flying like Honduran flags and Mexican flags and things like that without the American flag. Because the United States, that's what we're all about, right? Uh, we're a melting pot. But America comes first. It's common sense. And anybody that's arguing with that is because they don't love America and they're trying to manipulate you, like politically. If you're an emotional person, people will take advantage of you. That's one thing that I've learned. If you respond emotionally to things, people will exploit that. And I think that's the way that most of us are. We can be manipulated emotionally. How many would sneak into another country and expect to freeload? Hey, I don't like to offend Democrats because I'm not really a big fan of Republicans. I don't like the dichotomy of it all. But I mean, they're fully responsible for that. I don't know what the motivation for separating us, Democrats, Republicans, but I do know the bait that's being used by Democrats to separate certain people over to that side, and it's got a lot to do with emotions. It's like, I don't know if they're separating left brained from right brained people so that we don't get together and kind of live out our destiny. I don't know what the hell's going on, but we're definitely divided and we don't agree with things that are going on. What we need to start doing is just ignoring the things that are going on. That's what they're doing. They're creating events, or they're allowing these events to happen while we sit back and then we just argue about them instead of living our lives. So the same people who are dividing us are the ones creating these events that we argue about. It makes us feel even more divided. Yet we go to work every day, right? We allow the vehicle to merge in onto the freeway. When we see the left lane is completely closed up front, we all need to merge, right? We do one car after the other. We can all go through life just fine. It's once we get online on social media and we start writing our paperwork and we start, writing our papers and telling things the way we see it, things change. But yet, if you look outside, we get along just fine. It's crazy. It's the craziest thing. behind closed doors, this Thanksgiving, everybody's going to be arguing about what's going on with ICE, immigration, um, is Trump Hitler? The Epstein files will probably be a big one. Shit, that's what we should have talked about in fucking Epstein files. Apparently, they're going to be releasing all of that. I feel like there was some kind of weird psyop going on with Trump and the Epstein, right? It's like if Trump could convince the Democrats that he had something to hide, it would somehow outweigh all of the shit that they're trying to hide. And their hatred for him would then make them to vote to release the Epstein files. Because Trump was always talking about 4D chess, and I love chess, right? To me, that's a chess move right there, right? Take them down one road thinking that you're running when really you're just setting a trap, to completely take them over and leave them defenseless. Leading them down a road just to leave them there, in deep water where they can't swim. So I feel like that's what happened. It's like, oh, don't vote to release them. I don't want to get in trouble. I'm going to do everything in my power to shut them down. And then as soon as he could trick them to be like, oh, he really wants to hide these, then they would finally vote to release it all. And then boom, there you have it, 4D chess. Or he's in the motherfuckers. And he'll veto it, right? Once they vote on it. Which could be the truth as well. Try to avoid politics even though we think the same in my family. Yeah, it's true. Truth sleuth about the Epstein files, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, what's going on with this? Like, what a strategy, right? If you wanted to kind of, because the liberal mind is a really strange thing. Like I said, it's just emotional. It just reacts to emotion. So if you can kind of string it along, like, please, no, don't release the Epstein files. My name's in there. And they're like, oh, shit, Trump's name's in the Epstein files? Oh, we got to release it. We got to sacrifice, the Clintons and a few of these other people, so that we can get to Trump. But it could have just been a way to manipulate them to finally vote for releasing it. That'd be pretty sneaky. But that's also like a hopeful theory. Like you hope that Donald Trump's not in it. But honestly, I could care less. There's no devotion to a man. To me, I'm just a conservative. Whoever continues to push that, it has my support. Along with, transparency. So if he's blocking the Epstein files and finds out he's some kind of a diddler, or, yeah, screw him. He doesn't represent Make America Great Again. That's a philosophy. And if he's not following that philosophy, that's not him anymore. Because the facts are how they exist. But we'll be cutting this one in about 10 minutes. So guys, please vote. Right now, 84% of you say ICE is good. What do you think about their tactics? Let's see what we got going on here.
Be cool to be ICE. Like, we're going to look back on this and we're going to be like, ooh, that was bad. That was bad. Da, da, da. And a whole bunch of people that took that knob are going to try to slide back in real life and try to slide and party with us. They're going to be like,
This is not a church service. This is a training being run by Siembra, North Carolina. It's called Safe to Work, Safe to School. All those people are here because they do not want Donald Trump's masked arms of federal agents on the streets of Charlotte. They watched what happened in LA. They watched what happened in Chicago. And they're all here to be trained about how to get their neighbors and their friends and their coworkers safely to work and safely to school.
Yeah, this is crazy. And see, think about it. If your neighbors weren't all illegal immigrants, you would be protecting your American neighbors who need the jobs and who needed the help, right? They didn't need it to be stepped over. And the places that all this hits is always in the poverty stricken areas. And the people who are living in, their mansions, their big houses, they have no idea what it's like, right, to live in poverty or under the poverty line. They have no fucking clue. And they're the ones that are like, yeah, fuck ICE, fuck them, because they don't feel the squeeze, right? Their fathers, their husbands, their brothers, their sons aren't the ones losing out on jobs, right? They're good. They're trust fund babies. Nobody out there is really feeling the struggle, right? And how does a mental health issue, how do you fall into a mental health crisis? Tell you right now, if you got a family and you lose your job, that's a good fucking start. It's a good start to a mental health crisis. And what we all know that a lot of true crime stories happen because of a mental health crisis. A lot of them start right there. Oh, see? And check this out.
I know there are great people there that come to work every single day and do their jobs and do it admirably. Unfortunately, Mr. recently married back here is not one of those people. He works for ICE.
Man, they need to do this to everybody. Everybody right here. The way that they hold that mug shot like that, that's a Florida thing, I think, is where that started.
And he is an auditor for them, a civilian employee. When he was arrested, he said, "I'm ICE boys." Well, unfortunately.
Oh, he's not a real ICE agent. He's not law enforcement.
For him, we locked him up, put him in our jail. He got reappropriated to our jail. And my understanding is he helped send people to send federal authorities. I think he's going to see some federal authorities because I think the feds are going to take this case. So I'm going to close on this and I'll take questions.
Girl in Idaho last week has been identified as an illegal alien who shouldn't have been in this country, much less driving in it. Maura Garrity was rushed to the hospital after being run over by a man in a pickup truck while she was trying to cross the street last Tuesday afternoon. She was pronounced dead shortly after. ICE says the driver was one Elvin Ramos Caballero, an illegal alien who had an outstanding warrant for failure to appear in court. ICE has since taken him into custody for immigration violations. Not that it brings back this little girl. A little girl who, by the way, hasn't gotten a single mention from.
Oh, here's a raid. Trying to fuck up the taco game. I love food trucks. Oh, yeah. Taco quality's going down. That's all I know. I'll tell you that right now.
Déjale la verga, güey. ¿Qué, güey? ¿Qué, puto? ¿Qué? ¿Puta verga, qué?
Antagonizing the ICE agents. That's funny. You know he's American. Oh, that's funny. It's one thing to talk shit, and it's another thing to try to assassinate somebody. You know what I mean? There's a big difference between a homicidal maniac and a protester. Big difference. And it's easy to discern, right? It's not like it's hard or anything.
And DHS says that it has already arrested more than 200 illegal immigrants, and the operation is getting a ton of support, as DHS says that many of these people have criminal backgrounds involving things like assault, gang affiliation, drunk driving, and more.
I just don't understand what are the citizens mad about? Like, what is this all like? What's motivating them? It's got to be just 100% emotion, because the other side, it's common sense, right? Unless I'm missing something. So I just don't understand what they're fighting for, what they're protesting against. Is it the way that ICE is going about it? Like with the raids and covering their face and chasing people down the street? Like, what is it? Or do they just want the borders to be open, right? I hear a lot of people saying, well, people aren't illegal, but they are. A lot of people are illegal.
The most powerful, and that's what we did by fighting so hard against the most powerful people in the world, even the President of the United States.
I like her. You know what I mean? She doesn't seem fake. She might not appear to be the sharpest tool in the box, but she's still sharp. And I think that I think you can get a lot done with a tool like that. No pun intended. Yeah, but I like Marjorie. I don't know. If she runs for president, she might have my vote. What's up, Lilith? Caught us late. This is our 5-minute warning. But yeah, Marjorie, if you run for president, I'll vote for you.
Woman with a hammer, as that woman, the 17-year-old man arrested in Texas for allegedly attacking a woman with a hammer as that woman was jogging.
Jesus.
We're now learning he's in the country.
Imagine if that was your mom or your wife, your sister, your daughter.
The 17-year-old man arrested in Texas for allegedly attacking a woman with a hammer as that woman was jogging. We're now learning he's in the country illegally.
So you can't go jogging now.
On an expired visa. In Plano, Texas, Brooke Taylor has the story now. Hello.
Hi, Bill. Yeah, this is a busy and popular park. Already this morning.
And I know it doesn't take an illegal to commit these types of crimes. You know, we cover true crime cases like this constantly that are not committed by illegals. But it's just the thought, right? If this person would have been prevented from entering this country illegally, or if we would have had better measures in place, maybe this wouldn't have happened. You know, you can't say the same thing about an American citizen who is hiding right there in plain sight. But somebody that's here illegally, it just leaves like a bitter taste. Like, I wonder what would have happened if we would have prevented him from entering the country. Because you have to ask, why are you trying to enter the country illegally anyway? Most brown people don't need to do that. I just want most white folks out there to know that. Most brown people don't even think of doing that. When they come into the United States, you know what they do? They cross the border. They show their passport, and they come in and they spend thousands of dollars in our malls and in our stores and visiting their family all through the United States. Nobody harasses them. No one questions them. Right? Because they're not doing anything wrong. There's a big difference. I mean, think about it. American criminals, when they commit a murder, where's the first place they want to go? Right? I just committed a murder. Where should I go? It's either Canada or Mexico. And it's usually Mexico because nobody liked Canada. People in Canada are fucking weird. But Mexico, that's a tourist attraction right there. So if you see an American crossing through the desert, what are you going to think? Like, why is he crossing the desert? Why doesn't he just get in his car and use his passport to cross, at some of the border entry? Why is he in camouflage, hiding in the desert? Well, he's obviously a criminal. That's why. It goes both ways. What's up, Sparky? All right, guys. I think that's going to do it. Let me close down that poll. Let's see, guys. 82% of you say ICE good, overall good. 18% of you say bad. Must have been all my illegal viewers. We still got love for you guys, but you just got to come in and do it the right way. Right? A lot of my viewers are Hispanic. They're not illegal. Or Asian or European. They're not illegal. But Sleuth, no one's illegal. Maybe in your fairy tale world, but not in the real world. All right. Jari, Sparky, Wife Lilith, Pitbull Mom, CJK, Clarissa. Who we missing? Jari, Christine, Growing Crazy, Phil Bond, Misty Free Spirit, Inquisitive, Frank, and Good Time Charlie. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out. I'll try to hit you guys up a little bit later today. And I'm trying to put something together for you members. So keep a lookout for that notification and check on that probably within the next day or two. Otherwise, hit the Cash App. If you can't hit the Cash App, hit the like on the way out. And Replay Crew, you know what to do. Drop a comment and we'll get back to you. Rest of you guys, peace out.